frankly, we're all caught up in this sort of daily Trump fest. I mean, every single newspaper, every radio station, every bit of social media.
You got to make money too.
Well, it's dissecting.
You got bills to pay, man. You got electric bills. You got food. You know, this guy he's giving you all cash. The cash flow in the Trump era for these TV stations and for these news.
Can I say that might have been an issue, and maybe it still is an issue for the people who are the bean counters, but we, the journalists, I think, believe that our job is to navigate the truth and to do the fact-checking and all the rest of it. So I think that's what motivates a lot of people.
But I think the journalists have taken it personally.
The Mockingbird media, in its 90% negative press of the commander-in-chief, has become, in essence, an unelected propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. There is an algorithm that is generated, and Hillary Clinton is always there to keep it moving. Perhaps the blow of coordinated mental illness has been softened by years of Clinton's campaign speeches.
The names may have changed. Racists now call themselves racialists. White supremacists now call themselves white nationalists. The paranoid fringe now calls itself alt-right. But the hate burns just as bright. These are racist ideas, race-baiting ideas, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-women.
Clinton has shaped that illogical progressive narrative for decades.
They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
You called out President Clinton for defending Secretary Clinton's use of the term super predator back in the 90s when she supported the crime bill. Why did you call him out?
Because it was a racist term and everybody knew it was a racist term.
To call your own citizens super predators is pretty harsh, and and it's pretty big indictment. It's just like the term thug or hoodlum. It's just an easy brush to paint somebody with. If I'm a black kid that's not in a gang and but I look like a gang member to this white officer, then it's a war on me.
Sorry, Hillary. I was running on CP time.
That's not, I don't like jokes like that, Bill. That's not funny.
Cautious politician time. I've been there.
What do you think of Cory Booker's, and you didn't comment on him, and you feel free
to. I adore him.
What do you think about him saying kick them in the shins, essentially? Start to get to that kind of political.
Well, that was Eric Holder.
Yeah, Eric Holder,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know they all look alike.
No, they don't. Oh, well done.
Then there is the Trump and ISIS are one narrative, recently reaching full-blown lunacy on CNN.
This president has radicalized so many more people than ISIS ever did. I mean, the way he talks, the way he it's unconscionable. That's the way that he allows these people, the way he winks and nods to these groups, the way he says, I know I'm not supposed to say it, but I'm a nationalist.
It was a reporter, one particular story, that Donald Trump had actually recruited more terrorists than ISIS. Okay, fine. That was then met with an apology, and the apology was then covered, and then we covered the coverage of the apology, and then whether the coverage of the apology of the first statement was excessive. So the media now are consuming our news.
Matt Olson, the very distinguished and effective former director of the National Counterterrorism Center, was so disturbed by what he has seen coming from the Trump campaign that he wrote an article that I guess came online in the last 48 hours, pulling from public sources very clear statements by ISIS leaders, essentially throwing whatever support they have to Donald Trump.
Where Don Lemon's overtly racist statements would have us all suckered into believing that all white male Americans and far-right extremists are one and the same.
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they have the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that? I said that the biggest terror threat in this country comes from radicals on the far right, primarily white men. That angered some people. But let's put emotion aside and look at the cold, hard facts. The evidence is overwhelming. A recent report from the Government Accountability Office shows that. Even though more people died in attacks connected to Islamic extremists, the vast majority of deadly attacks in this country from 2001 to 2016 were carried out by far-right violent extremists. So people who were angered about what I said are missing the entire point. We don't need to worry about people who are thousands of miles away. The biggest threats are homegrown. The facts prove that.
I really believe that we should be able to have a conversation and get to the root of the issue. And the root of the issue is that the President of the United States has aligned himself with white nationalists, with the national. He called himself a nationalist. He has aligned himself with neo-Nazis.
You may ask, why bring up Hillary? She isn't even running for anything. Well, because Hillary represents the madness of the left that could soon occupy more seats in the House if the American people don't awaken from their slumber and get out and vote them out. But if the Democrats have their day, Hillary is already threatening to run again in 2020. John Bowne reporting.